I love the original Sarek, but Spock's father was portrayed better in Star Trek Discovery. When Star Trek, the original series, introduced Sarek, Spock's Vulcan father, he was instantly memorable. Played by the legendary Mark Lenard, Sarek embodied Vulcan logic, restraint, and pride in a way that gave viewers a clear window into Spock's heritage. His relationship with Spock was tense, dignified, and often emotionally distant, but it revealed how the half-Vulcan science officer's struggle with identity began long before the USS Enterprise. I love the original portrayal. Mark Lenard's Sarek was iconic. But as much as my heart belongs to that classic version, I think Star Trek Discovery did something even better. By recasting Sarek and diving into his complexities, the series turned him from an archetype into a fully developed character. Sarek in the original series. A distant father. When Sarek appeared in Journey to Babel 1967, he was stern, controlled, and intellectual, qualities expected of a Vulcan elder. His disagreements with Spock over joining Starfleet instead of following Vulcan traditions created a quiet but deep rift. The drama worked because Lenard played Sarek with unwavering conviction. His disappointment in Spock wasn't expressed with anger, but with the sharp sting of disapproval. For many fans, this version of Sarek became the definitive Vulcan patriarch, proud, logical, and forever slightly out of reach emotionally. We saw more of him in the animated series and The Next Generation, where Lenard reprised the role with gravitas. By then, Sarek was older, dealing with illness and vulnerability. His dignified decline in the TNG episode Sarek showed us that even Vulcans were not immune to human frailty. That episode made fans cry, but it still framed Sarek as an almost mythic figure. His emotional struggles were a tragic anomaly rather than a reflection of deeper, everyday flaws. Discovery's Sarek, a father with flaws. Enter James Frain's Sarek in Star Trek Discovery. Instead of presenting Spock's father as a distant, flawless icon, Discovery peeled back the layers of Vulcan perfection. Frain's Sarek is a man trying, and sometimes failing, to reconcile logic with love. We learn that he not only struggled with Spock, but also with his adopted human daughter, Michael Burnham. This immediately reframes him, not just Spock's father, but a parent under impossible circumstances, stretched between Vulcan tradition, human compassion, and his own pride. One of Discovery's best additions was showing how Sarek's decisions shaped both Spock and Michael. His choice to push Burnham into Vulcan training, only to later withdraw his support to protect Spock, was devastating. It exposed a side of Sarek that was selfish, conflicted, and painfully human beneath the Vulcan exterior. Unlike Lenard's Sarek, who often felt like an untouchable symbol of Vulcan culture, Frain's Sarek was relatable. He was a man who loved his children but made mistakes, sometimes terrible ones, while convincing himself that logic was guiding him. The human side of a Vulcan. Discovery succeeded by making Sarek's emotional repression part of his character arc, not just a Vulcan trait. His deep affection for Amanda, his human wife, was presented with tenderness we rarely saw in TOS. Their marriage wasn't just logical, there was genuine love, though it was tested by Sarek's pride and his cultural obligations. In particular, his guilt became a recurring theme. Guilt over failing Burnham. Guilt over pressuring Spock. Guilt over not being able to balance his Vulcan heritage with his family's needs. That guilt gave Sarek dimension. He wasn't the cold patriarch of old Star Trek episodes. He was a father who didn't always know how to do the right thing. And that made him fascinating. Why Discovery's Sarek works better? For me, what makes Discovery's version stronger is that it doesn't diminish Lenard's iconic performance, it expands it. Mark Lenard gave us the foundation. A proud, logical Vulcan elder whose choices pushed Spock into Starfleet and created their famous rift. Discovery, by contrast, let us see how those choices were made and how much they cost Sarek emotionally. By showing Sarek's vulnerabilities, Discovery helped explain why Spock grew into the man he was. Spock's constant tug-of-war between logic and emotion mirrors the struggle his father went through, even if Sarek would never admit it openly. In a sense, Discovery's version retroactively deepens Spock's story, giving us a clearer sense of the family history that shaped him. Frain's Sarek also thrives because Discovery thrives on character drama. Where TOS used Sarek sparingly as a dignified guest star, Discovery placed him inside long-form storytelling. This gave the writers space to explore his inner life, his conflicts, and his relationships over time.